Today's project is building shelves in the closet. And I had somebody else put these in. So they're pretty good shelves. Now these were made with so-called inch board, which is terribly expensive anymore. So what I did, I got this plywood, which I would recommend. This was at Lowe's. I don't know what BW, I don't know what any of this means, but what it is, it's painted. It's painted on both sides with a smooth surface on both sides, and it has a lot of plies. See all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plies, and there's a real thin, you can see that real thin layer of paint or whatever that is. So what you do, it's a 4x8. I got an 8-foot ceiling, so I cut each 4x8 sheet into 4 pieces, 1 foot each, and then I continued to cut for the shelves, count the number I needed, which I went off this, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't need that top one, and cut them. Now they're 2 foot. I had 4 foot to work with. Actually, a little better than 4 foot. So when I go to put this in, I got 2 problems. One is when I go to put, and I knew I would have a little space there. So what I'm going to do is put. Let me backtrack a little bit and tell you how I'm doing this. So I put these off. I couldn't put them on the same, so because I'm screwing through here into here, and I'm using these little screws here, which have a square head. Actually, the original ones have a smaller thing than that, but I'm countersinking, so it doesn't matter. I got a countersink here somewhere. It's up here, I guess. Show you that. So I pre-drill this with a bigger drill, the first one with a bigger drill, and then to get into the shelf itself, I have a smaller drill, and I've been using these to line it up to hold it in place until I'm done with it. Now, so that's fine over here. That was fine. Now I was going to put these back to the same level as this. I made a 4 foot, used a 4 foot level to bring my lane across, and then I realized that two things. Well, I wouldn't be able to screw from this side because obviously, and then for a minute I thought, well, you put them on here first and then bring this over. Well, that'd be about impossible, next to impossible. So then I realized I had wondered to start with why he put these cleats here, because he doesn't have cleats here. And then I realized it's because he couldn't screw through from here. Or nail it. I think he nailed it. So then I went, so I'm going to put cleats, but then I have another problem because this is floppy. And particularly if I'm going to nail these cleats, I can't have it being floppy. So I got about 5/8, so I got some 5/8 drywall. I'm going to slip that 5/8 drywall. I'm going to go ahead and fasten it to the wall. And then hopefully that'll solve all my problems. If I need a little more, if it's too tight, if it's just a little too tight, I'll probably let it go. If it's not tight enough, I've got some of that little fan, just stick a little something in there. I've got some fan fold insulation. Anyway. So, and then afterwards, one other thing I want to say. This has got an end grain. I lost my focus. This didn't have an end grain because it's a board. It's a board. It was cut. The end grain would be on that end up there. But this being plywood, it's got end grained all the way around. So I'm going to press in drywall mud. Now I wish there was something better. At one time, I put pastewood filler on a floor, And it dried. I expected it not to dry completely, and I left it sit because I thought I'd be able to come back later and rub it off. But it dried completely hard like wood. Well, I've never found that again. Every other pastewood fill I've ever seen, it doesn't dry hard. But at any rate, I think drywall mud will be good enough. I've used other products, caulk and, you know, but drywall mud works pretty good for stuff. I could use the mix. I'll probably use the mixed kind instead of the bucket kind, but I don't know how much difference even that makes. And also, a lot of times I'll prime it first. I don't know how much difference that makes either. I'm not going to prime it first. I'm just going to go ahead and put that mud. I'll press it right on here, and then I can wipe the extra back off. Then I'll prime it. I'll show you something now that I think about it. I did this years ago. So this is a thin strip. This is the same deal. It's plywood, but there's a real thin strip of wood right here, and but that's a lot of work. I don't know if I still have that kind of wood either, but you can buy that, and then you glue it on, but you have to, you know, hold it while it's being glued and everything like that, and then you can stain it. But the main reason I did this because I had maple drawers, and then I had to cut them down to size and stuff, or I forget exactly what all I did. But I don't work that hard anymore. Although that thing has been, my mother had that for 20 years. So I spread glue with the toothbrush. I've got it lined and marked, and so I screwed it on here. Now to find the other side, I'm just leveling it. I'm just using a level to find out the other side. And I haven't 100% decided how I'm going to fasten it at this point. I'm going to need to push this back a little. And then, so it worked okay. I haven't smeared the drywall goop yet. I'm going to paint that far one with, I'm going to paint this with primer, then paint this with primer, and then this I'm going to go straight with drywall mud, and then I'll come back later. I should do those screws half and half too. And put the drywall mud on this after I've primed it, and then I'll put the primer on this after I've drywall mudded it, and we'll see which is better. See, I've got screws here too, so we can do, I'll do one set of screws, prime those, and not prime these. We'll see which works better. So you really can't tell any difference on the this side I primed first, and then I put the stuff on it. This side I put the stuff on it, and this side, and then I primed it all. Because once you put the stuff on, you have to prime it. So I guess the moral of the story is that might as well just put the goop straight on without priming. And another moral of the story is that, you know, you can use plywood, because so this has no end grain, and it is smoother than this, but for closet shelves it's good enough. If you were doing not in a closet, you would probably want to finish that a little better, but I think you could still get away with it if you worked on it a little more than I did. That's the moral of the story.